It's time for you to sit down, get that pen, get that paper, and take some notes, because tonight we're talking about how to maximize results with factual disputes. Yes, this is for credit sweeps. There should be no templates, no online disputes, no phone disputes, no jumping straight to the CFPB. If you want to permanently, as quickly as possible, remove your negative items from your credit report, then that is exactly what we are about to jump into starting right now. Now, pausing right there, even though I said right now, if you want to check out a ton of tutorials, head right over to my channel. I've got 800 videos that go over literally every single thing that you could possibly think of for removing negative items from your credit report, and they go back to July 2015, okay? We're talking about almost 8 years on YouTube, all right? Now, another thing is, if this is something that you don't want to do, head over to my740.com, click on this link right here where it says start here, schedule your free call, and I will see if this is something that I personally can help you with, all right? So let's get right back over to this. Okay, so this is an in-depth tutorial, okay? Understanding factual disputes. If you don't understand this, then guess what? You're not going to be able to remove your negative items, okay? And I created this with you in mind. I wanted to create the easiest to understand version possible, and this is the result. At the end of this short video, even though it says ebook, and yes, you can use the link in the description to pull this up, you should be able to look at any account on a credit report, understand how to dispute it for the best results. So normally I would do this as part of like a master class or whatever, but we're going to condense this, go through it quickly, and it's also obviously free because it's right here on YouTube. There are no shortcuts. If you're looking for shortcuts, then guess what? You're going to be right back here 5 years from now, still negative items on your credit report. And, you know, hey, after you've gone through company after company after company and did, you know, identity theft and this, that, and the third, I'm not going to be able to help you. So get with it the right way the first time. All right. So I guess the first place that we need to start or address is what factual disputes are. So we're going to look at that. A dispute based off the information reported on one's credit report is a factual dispute, also known as don't pull your dispute reason out of thin air. All right, so here's an example. You're disputing a charge off and it reports a balance of $500. That $500 is taken directly from the credit report. Your dispute may go something like this. I don't owe $500 on this account. It needs to be removed immediately. Now, we can go even further than that. That same charge-off reports a date of last activity that shows 3 different dates. And this is going to be your better bet, okay? The date of last activity is reporting 3 different dates. You need to remove this account. TransUnion shows date, Experian date, and Equifax date. And we are taking these dates directly from the credit report, okay? One of the things that you do need to understand is that there's a hierarchy of dispute reasons. You can't just say, oh, this is inaccurate, I'm going to use it. No, that is the fastest. Other day, I recorded a video, 19 steps to a foolproof credit sweep, and I also gave you 7 steps to failure, all right? So if you're interested in that, I'm going to also link this video down in the description because it is super, 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 super important, all right? Now, there's a hierarchy to disputing. One thing makes more of an impact than another, all right? In short, you want to start with what's going to get the deletions or corrections the fastest. So when you go to war, when you go and you battle, you're going in with your guns blazing and cannons and all of that. You're not going in with squirt guns. You're not going to just pull out your pistols. No, you're going in with the freaking tanks, okay? And when you dispute the right way using factual disputes, you're going in with the tanks, and that's exactly what we're doing. So this would be something like balance, past due, date of last activity, date of last payment, monthly payment, high balance, payment history, limit, open date, type, and terms. These are things that can be disputed on the credit report, but there's a certain way that we would dispute it. For a charge off, it's actually date of last activity that's probably going to be more impactful than date of last payment, which is going to be more impactful than the payment history, which is going to be more impactful than the high balance, than the past due, than the balance, than the limit, open date, type, and terms, okay? Now, why is the balance important? Well, because they might be reporting an amount that you don't actually owe, and creditors will see this and can deny you credit because of this, right? Why is the past due important? Well, because it shows that you have not paid on time and you may be denied credit because of it. Why is the date of last activity important? Well, because it's the date that the statute of limitations for reporting goes off of, which also starts with the date of last payment. If the account was supposed to fall off in November 2018, but it's re-aged to a newer date because the account was disputed wrong, or because the creditor or bureau just illegally re-aged it, now the account may not come off until 2022 or similar, right? See why the date matters? So let's look at some dispute examples. So why is the date of last payment important? I mean, we kind of already went over this, but because of the date of last activity and statute of limitations will be a direct reflection of this date of last payment. Another thing is that we went over the dispute flow, and I showed you why and how one dispute element, like payment history, date of last payment, blah, 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 affects or correlates with another, okay? Now, why is monthly payment important? Because you're no longer paying monthly on a closed account. Now, unless you actually are paying monthly on, let's just say, a charge-off, it's closed, you owe X amount of money, and now there can be payment history reported because you're paying back. But if you're not, there should not be any additional monthly payment. There should be no payment history, so on and so forth, right? So if you're looking at a charge-off, and yet it shows you're still making payments, you may be denied credit because your total monthly payments are too high, right? So that's the reason why it's so important to understand that there are no monthly payments on an account that is closed, positive or negative, unless it goes with what I was just referring to, right? So why is payment history important? Well, why shouldn't it be? Why is the limit important? The limit should be reported on each account, and some creditors even leave it out intentionally, like Barclays and Capital One, right? So the account may report limit is the high balance or high balance is CC limit or similar. Now, what if your limit is $2,500, but your high balance is only $100 because you were careful? Now, this means that your utilization is way off, right? So here's a tip. Run your card up to $24.99 and then immediately pay off the account to report that the high balance is now your limit, and utilization will be corrected and should be a lower amount, right? Now, what are the other types like terms and, type, etc. important? Well, because each aspect of the account should be accurate, right? Now, and yes, I know I spelled credit incorrectly here. Your credit report is your financial biography and shows others what type of borrower you are and how trustworthy and credit worthy you are. Now, if credit didn't matter, if it were as simple as just sending out a couple of letters, then why is your credit score and your credit report one of the very first things that determines how much money you make, where you live, what you drive, whether you take a bus, whether you live in mom and dad's apartment or, basement, or what food you put on the table, and whether you open up your wallet and there's money or whether you check your bank account and there's money, okay? These things matter, and that's why it's not so easy, because if it were that simple, then lenders wouldn't lend anymore because they wouldn't be able to trust the credit reporting process, okay? So they make their decisions off of this information, so why wouldn't you want it to be accurate, okay? Now, what if there are no inaccuracies? I get this question all the time in my YouTube comments. Now, it's probably like 10 times per day that I get it, and every day of the week except for Sundays, the only day I don't take calls. But what I'd like for you to do is, or for you to understand, is that accurate does not mean valid or correct. What I mean is that you just because the account says that you owe $100 and you actually owe $100, it doesn't mean that the open date is correct, or that the date of last activity is correct, or that the, last payment date or date last reported or the late payment history from 3 months ago is correct, or that the terms or type or limit or high balance are correct, right? So what do you do with an account that reports one aspect correctly and something else that's not correct? You dispute the inaccuracy to remove or correct the account. Now, here are some examples. Date of last activity is shown as, and we're going to blow this up just a little bit, TransUnion 2, 2012, Experian 3, 2015, Equifax 4, 2012. Can you tell that I created this a couple of years ago? Yes, okay. Your dispute would look like this. You need to remove the account for inaccuracy because the date of last activity shows 3 different dates, and Experian has re-aged this account. TransUnion shows 2, 2012, Experian 3, 2015, and Equifax 4, 2012. High balance is shown as, and this is number 2, TransUnion $400, Experian 0, Equifax $635. Your dispute would look like this. Remove this account because the high balance is inconsistent and the account isn't accurate. TransUnion has $400, Experian 0, and Equifax $635. And yes, I spelled Equifax. Number 3, the account is fine except for the payment history on 3/2015, where the account shows that you were 30 days late on all 3 bureaus, right? So our dispute would be, please update this account to paid as agreed, never late, because it shows that I was late on 3/2015, but I paid on time. Number 4, the account shows a payment history that isn't consistent. 3/2015, 30 days late on Equifax, 60 days late on TransUnion, okay on Experian, 10/2015, 90 days late on Equifax, okay on TransUnion, 30 days late on Experian. Your dispute would look like this. The payment history on this account is inaccurate, and you need to remove all alleged late payments and update this account to paid as agreed, because 3/2015 is reported as 30 days late on Equifax, 60 days late on TransUnion, and on time or okay on Experian, and then on 10/2015, it shows 90 days late on Equifax, okay on TransUnion, and 30 days later on Experian. How is this possible when you're receiving the same information from the same creditor, right? Number 5. Date of last payment shows 10/2015 on a charged-off account. You've reaged this account because the date of last payment was prior to this date. Remove for inaccuracy or even violation. Now we're going to pause right there. You can, again, use the link in the description to pull this up. I'm only going to charge a couple of dollars for it, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. There you go. All right. Number 6, monthly payment of $100 on a charge-off. You must immediately remove this account because it's closed, and yet there's a $100 monthly payment reported. How can this be when I'm no longer paying on it? All right, missing information. Account isn't reporting a date of last payment. Remove for incompleteness. Mixed information. You may have 2 accounts with the same creditor, but the account info is mixed between accounts. Dispute it as if it's negative. Balance 100, 200, 100. Remove for inaccuracy because the balance is reported as $100 on TransUnion, 200 on Experian, and $100 on Equifax. Open date. Now, this is not a strong dispute reason and should only be used when you really don't have anything else to dispute. This is the bottom of the barrel dispute, and it's really a wild card, all right? Account was not open on date. Please delete account. Now, public records. Please pay attention if you have a bankruptcy, a judgment, or a tax lien. For a bankruptcy, simply dispute the information you're given. If the filing date is not the same between each bureau disputed as such, remove for inaccurate, inconsistent filing date. If the court name is not accurate or consistent, dispute it. Remove for inaccurate, inconsistent court name. The legal name of the court must be reported accurately, and yet I'm seeing that Equifax reports as federal, TransUnion reports federal district or U.S. bankruptcy court without the city and state, and Experian reports something abbreviated that's not easy to understand. And obviously, this does sound easy enough, right? And that's because it is. If you continue to overthink this, you're going to lack results. Now, for judgments and tax liens, don't forget that if your personal information isn't reported on the account, they can't continue to report it. And you're going to see this on a physical report that you request from bureaus, right? And you actually, that's exactly what it says on the next line. So you're not going to see it on online monitoring or any of the other reports that you can get. It has to be a physical report. However, you can assume that it's not there because most of the time it's not. And this is a change from July 1st of 2017, all right? Now, your best line of defense with this is that these normally are reported wrong. Filing date, court name, plaintiff name, etc. Dispute each part of it. Trust me, these are literally the easiest to remove out of all account types, not bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is like 9 to 12 months if it comes off at all. Judgments and tax liens are actually easier to remove than medical, okay? Now, does that mean that you're guaranteed to remove this? Absolutely not. The only things that are guaranteed in this life are death and taxes, and I look forward to neither of those, okay? So how to write your disputes. So what's the bottom line here with writing disputes using factual dispute methods? It means that you need to stop being lazy and don't hate, appreciate, stop drinking the Kool-Aid with the 609 letters and start writing your own dispute letters. You see how I didn't write out the elaborate sentence or paragraph related to law or anything else? I used a very simple sentence to explicate what I wanted, right? You need to do exactly the same when you are writing your disputes. This means, again, no templates. Stop thinking that templates are for sending them out as is. Templates are for having a basis for disputing so that you know what law it pertains to, what, and how to use it to remove something that you're disputing. It's basically a mold or a boilerplate used to shape your dispute letter. Example for dispute rounds. Round 1. Request for investigation. I need for you to investigate these accounts because they're reported inaccurately. No, pursuant to blah, 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 all right? Round 2, method of verification. I don't understand how you verified these accounts or how they're accurate when you didn't send me anything to prove they're accurate. Did you speak with the creditors? What are the dates and what was used to make this decision? Round 3, independent investigation. You're required to perform an independent investigation. This means that you just can't go off of what the creditor tells you. You need to actually obtain documentation for the accounts to determine for yourself whether it's reported correctly or not. How can that happen? Unless you have those docs. I need for you to send me all documentation that was used so that I can see for myself that you didn't just repeat what you were told. Other things to consider, and these are very important. You can make complaints with the CFPB once you have proof of violations and you've made your paper trail. This does not mean that you only submit complaints with the CFPB or that you go to them on round 2 or 1 or 3. Be a pain in the ass, but a pain in the ass with proof of inaccuracies and violations. Be persistent and remember that it takes perseverance to get results. Do not give up. Keep 30 to 40 days between disputes. You do not need to notarize anything. You do not want to sign any dispute letters. You do not need to send anything certified unless you are sending VODs. That's a validation of debt. Do not VOD any debt buyer collection unless they are truly unknown. Do not make online disputes. Do not hop from company to company, okay? It's not the company that you need to change. It is the process. So the very last one, I'm going to scroll down. You do not want to send out templates. Send out your own letter, even if you are taking a portion of the dispute letter from a template to make your point, okay? Now, there's many other things that, that we could go through, but I'm actually going to chop off the end of this ebook that I created. And I'm going to put the link down in the description on how to maximize results with factual disputes so that you too can remove your negative items from your credit report. And again, at youtube.com/ask-Kristen, you can find over 800 videos going back to 2015. Make sure that you like this specific video, that you, my friend, are posting in the comments what else you would like to see on my channel, what I can help you with. And if this is something that you really want to get help with, then head over again to my740.com, click on this first link, choose any date and time, and I will see if I can help you. All right. So that is it for today. I hope that you learned something new. I hope that this was valuable to you. And if it was, again, smash that like, subscribe if you haven't done so that you don't miss anything that you can use to remove your negative items. And I will see you next time.